If you're starting out your career in supply chain right now, I think the big key is rotate through as many spots as you can. I spent 23 years at Amazon, where my primary focus during my career was supply chain and operations, where I led the global supply chain team for about a decade and then was consumer CEO for 18 months. I'm a big believer in the power of supply chain leaders impacting the world positively, whether that be environmental impact, human impact through the millions and millions of people who are employed in the supply chains around the world, and that the benefit it can bring to consumers around the planet. There are very few people who can impact the world in the way a supply chain leader can. There have been many big lessons learned along the way, but maybe perhaps the biggest is really learning to trust, delegate, and empower your teams in order to really achieve success. None of these things that are accomplished at a company like Amazon or any of the other big companies in the world happen because of any one person. They happen because teams are enabled, they're empowered, they're great leaders at every level who have the ability to go out and make the right decisions for customers at the right time. And learning to trust and develop and work with a team is, perhaps the most rewarding and biggest learning, the last couple decades. When you think about, people say failing fast a lot, and people, talk about rewarding people for experimentation and growth. And the key is it planful or not? Planful experimentation is growth. That's how you learn, you instrument it, you understand it, you know why you failed, you learn from that failure, and you can spin around to improve to go to the next step. You want to reward people for trying and being planful, and for learning and instrumenting and taking those mistakes or those failures and spinning them into the next idea. Because that's iterative learning. And that makes companies better, it makes people better. And the people who are willing to take those risks are the people who will be the biggest key leaders for how you can evolve and grow a company over time. I think if you're starting out your career in supply chain right now, you should really go learn how to code and do something other than supply chain. I think the big key is rotate through as many spots as you can. Like, I think, you really, used to be the path was, there was a procurement path, there was like a manufacturing path, and the people in analytic paths often didn't really have a C-suite opportunity. And I think that is changing a lot. And you really want, as a supply chain professional, to learn technology, to learn analytics, to really understand the planning side of the business, as well as learning the people leadership elements on the front lines. And it's really the people who have that full package of skill sets are going to be the sort of C-suite leaders, I believe, of the future. And taking those opportunities, taking really challenging roles, I believe is the key to having a successful long-term career.